An irrigation valve that won't close can quickly cause major problems like overwatering, flooding, runoff to adjacent properties, and water waste. It's important to fix the issue as quickly as possible. In this video, we'll show you what to do if you encounter a valve that's stuck in the open or on position. Let's look at how to troubleshoot a valve that won't turn off. Is the manual bleed screw open? If you know which valve is stuck in the open position, go to the valve box and look inside. You'll know immediately if the manual bleed screw is open or if it's missing, as water will be flowing from the top of the valve. First, close the manual bleed and see if it makes the valve shut off. If the bleed screw is missing, it's best to shut down the system. Then, try to find the missing screw in the valve box. If you can't find the screw, you'll need to get a replacement. Is the solenoid in the off position? Sometimes when working with Hunter valves, new installers think the solenoid needs to be in the open position for the valve to operate through the controller. If the valve won't close, try turning the solenoid to the right. This will allow the rubber tip on the bottom to cover the solenoid exhaust port, causing the bonnet chamber to fill with water and closing the valve. Is the solenoid energized? A solenoid that is activated electrically will vibrate slightly, hum quietly, or maybe slightly warm to the touch. If this is the case, go to the controller. At the controller, check the display to see if a station is running. If so, turn the controller off. You should also check the controller programming to make sure it's correct. If the runtime isn't configured properly, or too many runtimes are programmed, it can seem like the valve is the problem when the real issue is incorrect controller programming. Is there an electrical issue? If the valve still isn't closing, check the output to the field using a volt-ohm meter. If the zone is set to off, and you see that 24 volts are still being sent to the valve, there may be an issue with the controller. Turn all power off to the controller and see if the valve will close then. Is there debris in the valve? If debris has entered the valve, sometimes opening the manual bleed can help evacuate the obstruction. Turn the manual bleed and allow the valve to vent for several seconds. Then close the manual bleed and see if the valve closes. If the valve has a flow control stem, manually open the valve so the valve is on. Turn the flow control counterclockwise to try dislodging the debris that is causing the diaphragm to stay open. Let the water flow for several seconds, then rotate it a half turn clockwise. Manually shut off the valve and see if it fully closes. If not, you'll need to open the valve to identify the problem. To check for debris in the valve or a problem with the diaphragm, turn off the water to the irrigation system so the valve is not under pressure. Next, remove the solenoid. Then remove the bonnet to access the internal valve components. Clean the bonnet and look for any obstructions in the porting through the bonnet. Clean off the bonnet with water. Remove the diaphragm and check for dirt or debris that may have been caught between the sealing surface and the seat. Next, check the filter screen. If it's clogged, water may not be able to reach the upper chamber, which could cause the valve to fail open. You can clean this off with a small brush and some clean water. Verify that the diaphragm is free of any nicks, cracks, or tears. Check the seating surface and look for any indentations on the rubber seal. A torn diaphragm could cause the valve to fail open. If you see any issues or if the rubber is starting to age and deteriorate, replace it with the same part. Run your finger around the valve seat on the inside of the valve body. It should be smooth with no indentations. If the valve seat is damaged, you'll need to replace the valve body. Look at the plunger area of the solenoid. Hunter solenoids have a rubber disc that covers the end of the plunger. Make sure the disc is fixed firmly in place. Also, make sure there's no debris present that could keep the solenoid from sealing. Other causes. If this is a newly installed valve, check to see that it's installed in the correct orientation. A valve installed backward could fail to turn off. Hunter valves have a support ring underneath the diaphragm. If this is missing, or if it's damaged or broken, the valve could remain open. Replace the support ring with the same part. Sometimes on smaller zones with low flow through the valve, another valve may be opening before the first valve has had a chance to close, causing the first valve to remain open. In this situation, adding flow control or fine-tuning the valve with flow control can help. Some irrigation controllers are available with a delay between stations feature that allows you to program a delay. This gives each valve enough time to completely close before the next valve actuates. Many issues can keep a valve from closing. By using your knowledge of how a valve operates and working through the different possibilities, you can simplify and speed up your troubleshooting process. To learn more about our complete line of industry-leading valves for residential and commercial applications, visit hunterindustries.com.